All right, so we are now recording. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope that everybody can see my screen here. And so let's get started. So again, today we're going to talk about private touring, luxury, and unique experiences in Iceland. This particular hotel, I'll call it accommodation, is the Buubble Hotel, and I'll talk about it a bit more later on, but this is a unique photo of it. So if you've joined us in the past, I changed up my photos a little bit to give you a couple different views of Iceland. My name is Shauna. I'm a top of the world and Scandinavia specialist here. I've been here for about 8 years. I typically do specialize in Iceland, but I do also work with Greenland, Faroe Islands, Scandinavia, Russia, and a little bit of the Baltics as well. I also do expedition cruising, including examples of the Northwest Passage, Antarctica, things like that. So the left-hand side photo is a picture of me standing in front of Snæfellsjökull Glacier. This is on the Snæfellsnes Peninsula on the west side of Iceland. You can see the glacier kind of up behind the one mountain, a little bit of snow that's popping out the top. That's the viewpoint that we had for this particular stop. And then the photo beside that is me standing on the black sand beach in the town of Vik, which is in the south coast of Iceland. Both of these photos, the one on the left was taken in 2019, the one on the right was taken in 2018. So who are we? We are a group of people who love to travel to unique and underexplored areas. We've been around since the early 1980s, and we're one of the first companies to operate polar bear trips into Churchill. We love unique and off the beaten path locales. Africa, Greenland, Scandinavia, Antarctica, these are all places that we specialize in. We are a full service agency, so if you do have any other requests, we are able to assist. These are areas of the world that we do have specialists in though. So our main office is located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'd like to acknowledge that Winnipeg is located on Treaty 1 land, the original land of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, Lakota, and Dene peoples, and is the homeland of the Métis Nation. We do this to recognize and express gratitude to the First Nations and the Métis land that we're on. So again, if you've been with us for the past couple of weeks, this slide also remains the exact same, but I do want to go over it for anybody who's new. COVID-19, of course, is something that's going to be in our lives for a little while still. So it's something we need to address kind of right off the bat. Iceland is accepting travelers from both Canada and the US. The hope is that you're fully vaccinated in order to do this. However, there is an option if you're not vaccinated. But in short, if you are fully vaccinated or you can show proof of a past COVID-19 infection, you can enter Iceland and expect to quarantine for less than 24 hours. All travelers must pre-register at visit.covid.is. This must be done 72 hours prior to your arrival in Iceland. And since you're fully vaccinated, you do not need to provide a negative COVID-19 test in order to enter Iceland. You'll be tested on arrival at Keflavik Airport. There's no charge for this test. And then you must transfer it immediately to your first night of accommodation and self-isolate until your negative test results are presented. This has been within about 4 to 6 hours. I have some clients who arrived in Iceland on the weekend and they had their test results by 7 p.m. the same day of arrival. So it was roughly 12 hours from their test time. This is fairly standard from what I understand. However, the test results are guaranteed within 24 hours of your arrival. So once your results are texted to you, you're free to explore Iceland. Once in Iceland, you must register on a different website, travel.covid.is. This will allow you to have access to the local laboratory information and set up your testing appointment prior to your return trip home. So currently, both the US and Canada do require negative PCR COVID-19 tests to be presented prior to arrival in either country. This test must be taken no more than 72 hours prior to departure back to Canada or the US. Now, if there is anyone from the US watching, I believe that the US does accept rapid tests as well. This is something that Iceland is starting to get into. I believe we're going to have an update on that around July 1st. But Canada does not accept rapid tests, so it must be the PCR option. There are many labs around the country, but they do not take appointments. They have limited hours. One of the labs in the north is only open for an hour a day. But using the barcode system at travel.covid.is, this provides you the best lab to visit based on your itinerary and your departure date. And it'll assign you the time to attend and the date to attend. So it's not an appointment per se, but the lab does know that you're coming that day. If you're not vaccinated nor can show proof of a past COVID-19 infection, there are more steps to follow. In addition to the most information above, you'll need to provide a negative COVID-19 test prior to arrival into the country. Once you've arrived and tested, you must quarantine in a state-approved facility for free of charge. This quarantine will last 5 days, and you'll be retested at the end of the quarantine if you test negative, and then you're free to go. So social distancing rules of 2 meters are in effect. This actually changed just about, I think yesterday or the day before. It is actually 1 meter now. So face masks must be worn when the 1 meter rule cannot be kept. Face masks must also be used on public transport, including but not limited to taxis, buses, tour buses, and private vehicles that are being used for touring purposes. They must also be worn in shops and other indoor locations. I've left this portion on the slide. I did mention last week as well, this is being significantly relaxed in Iceland. Reports today out of Iceland were that the population of the country is about 360,000 and 145,000 Icelanders are fully vaccinated, with I believe an additional 60% of eligible people are vaccinated with 1 dose. So that's a great start for them. So they're starting to wind down these restrictions in accordance with their local population's vaccination numbers. Plus on the assumption and the knowledge that most people that are entering Iceland are fully vaccinated as well. So a lot of these restrictions are being relaxed in the coming weeks. There is a big update expected July 1st for restrictions, and because they're doing so well, they're not going to be imposing new restrictions at this time. They're only going to be easing restrictions. It's hard to say what will be removed and what will be eased, but it does sound like it'll be easier for both Canadians and Americans to travel. You are, of course, subject to whatever the restrictions are in your home country when coming home. So the US, I believe, does not require a quarantine, but they recommend a 10-day quarantine. At the current moment, I believe the official rule in Canada is that it's still 14 days, potentially plus the 3-day hotel isolation. I know that's been in the news the last couple of days, and I expect there's an announcement actually coming on Monday, so we expect to have that updated, and we'll see where we stand with that. So now we're going to get away from COVID for a little bit and look at some fun pictures. So private touring and transportation in Iceland has actually become quite popular in the last couple of years, even more so as we start moving forward kind of during and post-COVID. People don't want to necessarily be on large buses with large groups of people, vaccinated or not. So this is becoming quite a popular option. I don't have a picture of it, but we also do offer sedan options. So the sedan and the van are both Mercedes-Benz vehicles. So the sedan can hold up to 3 people comfortably with luggage, and the van can hold from 4 to 7 people comfortably with luggage. These are popular for airport transfers. These vehicles can also be used for private day tours or private multi-day tours. That's on the top left. On the top right, this is a picture of a Super Jeep. This is a unique vehicle in Iceland. They're kind of souped up SUVs, I guess you could say. They've got large tires that are able to kind of navigate some interesting landscapes. They usually have like a snorkel kit where they can drive through rivers. They drive up the sides of cliffs sometimes. It's quite interesting to watch. And if your budget and your timing allows, I do recommend people to do at least 1 tour by Super Jeep. It's an interesting experience. So the one picture on the top right, that one can hold up to 5 passengers comfortably. If you've got a larger family, maybe 2 families traveling together, the one on the bottom can hold up to 9 passengers comfortably. There is also a large one that can hold up to 17 passengers. That would be more maybe for a small group, maybe a larger family reunion type group. We do have access to that as well. Actually, no, I'll just touch on one more thing here. So again, I mentioned you could do multi-day tours with private transportation and touring. Your driver guide will always be included. Their accommodation will always be included because it's required that we provide accommodation for them if they're traveling overnight. And their meals will also be included. So the only thing you've got to do is tip them if you're happy with it. If you're not, you don't have to tip. If you're not comfortable tipping, that's fine as well. But the only thing outstanding for you would be a tip if you feel like it. The rest of their services are included. Now we're going to talk about luxury experiences. First, I'm going to talk about Hotel Ranga. So Hotel Ranga has become a very popular hotel in Iceland in the last couple of years. It's located on the south coast of Iceland, about an hour and a half drive east of Reykjavik. This is definitely quite a luxurious hotel, and it's great for Northern Lights viewing in the wintertime, as you can see on the right. But in the summertime, it does provide kind of a great jumping off point for exploring the south coast, using as a base if you want to maybe do a couple of different activities in the south, but don't want to go back to Reykjavik every single day. This is a great place to do this. In the wintertime, again, they do have a custom Northern Lights platform that's been built. So you don't even have to leave the property to view Northern Lights. You just kind of go outside and take advantage of that platform. In the bottom, in the middle, this is a picture of their restaurant. So it's quite a high-end restaurant. The food is delicious. I have not stayed at Hotel Ranga, but I have eaten dinner there, and the food is just amazing. Fresh seafood, delicious sauces and veggies. It's incredible. So they do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast is included with the room rate always, and you can arrange box lunches if you're going out for activities. So it's a really great place to have some luxury, and I'm going to show you the rooms next. So there's 4 different room types. The one on the left-hand side at the top, this is the standard room. So it is quite small. You'll find Icelandic hotel rooms are quite small standardly. If you've been to Europe, this is common across Europe, but the standard rooms are quite small. Comfortable, like you've got the bedding, you've got a bathroom, you've got some floor space, but they're not large hotel rooms. The bottom one in the kind of off-center middle, that is the deluxe superior room. So this is fairly significantly larger. It does have availability for 3 adults. So that sofa you see does pull out, or there is the ability to bring into a cot into the rooms as well. So 3 adults can fit in here comfortably. The top kind of off-centered middle as well. This is a junior suite, and then the bottom right is a master suite. So there are 4 of each of these room categories, and they're all different themes. So the junior suites, the one that's shown is South America. There's also a North America, an Asia, and an Australia. And then the bottom right is the master suite. There's again 4 of these. There's Antarctica, Africa, Iceland, and the Royal Suite. So the one that's pictured is Iceland. You can kind of see on the bed there is a hand knitted blanket that resembles an Icelandic sweater, if you're familiar with that design. So these master suites are quite popular, and I will reference the Kardashians. You'll never hear me do this again, but the Kardashians stayed here a couple of years ago, and they stayed in the Antarctica suites, and it was shown on their TV show. So that suite in particular is very, very hard to reserve because people do want to book that one. But if you've got a little bit of extra funds, it is pricey, but master suites are definitely a great place to stay. So this is Hotel Grimsborgir. So Hotel Grimsborgir is located kind of in the Golden Circle region. It's quite a high-end property, probably I would say in terms of luxury, one of the most luxurious in Iceland. And then of course the price tag does go along with that. But again, if you've got a little bit of funds to splash out, it's a great place to spend even a night. They do have some hot tub there on site, as you can see there on the top left. Again, world-class restaurant you can see on the top right. The unique thing about this property is they have standard rooms, superior rooms. The superior room is what's pictured on the bottom right. But they also have accommodations going up to 4-bedroom deluxe apartments. So if you're traveling as part of a larger family, maybe a bunch of friends traveling together, this is super uncommon outside of the Reykjavik city center. So if you've got the budget for it, this is a great place for a big group of friends to stay together. The one challenge we face with this property is typically if there is a movie filming in Iceland or a TV show filming in Iceland, the crew will typically buy this property out completely. So it can be a challenge to secure space, but if we can time it right, it's a great property to stay at. So I see there's a bit of an issue with my writing here, but this is the Ion Adventure Hotel. So this, as you can see, a very uniquely designed hotel. It's not for everybody's taste, but a lot of people do request this property. You can see on the right-hand side, the pool just looks incredible. I've not visited this property myself personally, but I have sent clients there, and you'll see kind of in the middle on the bottom, this is one of the standard rooms. So again, very, very sparsely decorated, but they have that luxurious kind of Scandinavian feel. Again, this is located in the Golden Circle region, so it depends on what kind of taste you've got, if this suits your taste, if not. But this is a luxurious hotel we can offer to you. You can see the view around is the moss and the lava, so you kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Oh, sorry, wrong way. Oh, I see there's an issue with this writing as well. I'm so sorry, but this is the Blue Lagoon SILICA Hotel. So The Blue Lagoon is, of course, a very popular attraction. It's located near the airport. They also have 2 hotels on site. Both are fairly expensive. The SILICA hotel is the least expensive of the 2, but it's still quite luxurious. The bottom left-hand side shows their lead in room category. So everything, they do have little patios or balconies depending on what floor you're on. And you have a little private area. You can open the door and get some fresh air. These rooms, it does have a couch in there, but these rooms only hold 2 adults. There's no room, or they don't allow 3 people. In the bottom in the middle, this just shows an area of reflection inside. There's lots of soothing music playing. You can sit and relax and read a book if you don't necessarily want to go into the lagoon. It's a very relaxing place to spend some time. The top left-hand side is just kind of an overview of the grounds. So this is the kind of milky blue water that people are used to seeing with the Blue Lagoon. And on the right-hand side at the top, this is the view of the rooms. So these are the lava view rooms. And I mean, they're not lying. You look right outside to lava. So it's a really unique hotel opportunity. And the bottom right, I just wanted to include this. They do have their own line of skincare. So they have silicone mud masks, which are pictured here. They've got moisturizers, things like that. It's really great for people with dry skin. And it can be purchased in their shop. But also if you're flying Icelandair sells it in their duty-free shop on board as well. It can be pricey, but I've purchased a few pieces because living in Manitoba, you get really dry skin in the wintertime, and it's actually really, really great quality. So I do recommend it if you'd like to try something kind of unique from Iceland. So this is the Blue Lagoon Retreat, and I apologize. I see there's an issue with my writing on this slide as well. I do apologize for that, but it's called Retreat. So this is the more luxurious hotel at the Blue Lagoon. It's slightly away from the main site. And just to give you an idea, height of summer, their lead-in room, which is the top right-hand side, it usually runs kind of 19, 20, 2100 euros per night. So it's very, very expensive, but it's a really great way to end your trip in Iceland. If you've got a little bit of extra funds, you can spoil yourself for a night. The top left-hand side is one of their suites. So you'll see there's a little bit more space. There's a bit of a sitting area. There's a little bathtub overlooking the lagoon. Again, both room categories will have doors accessing the outside from there. The bottom left just shows an overview of the retreat area. So you'll see it's a little bit separated. You can see the main Blue Lagoon site kind of behind. So this area is exclusive to retreat guests. The SILICA hotel guests aren't able to access this area, so it's very, very exclusive to just the hotel guests. And the right-hand side is just some of the outdoor space as well. So another option, so I've written private helicopter tours. However, scheduled helicopter tours are also an option. Typically the helicopter tours are going to be minimum 3 passengers. So it can be a challenge if you're booking as a couple. They'll typically have people that maybe are flying standby, or there could be people who are interested in your departure as well to maybe round up a couple of days beforehand. So we do generally book these tours in advance, but we don't take payment in advance, just in case for some reason it doesn't run due to the occupancy, if we haven't been able to find a third person, or the weather. The weather's a big factor for these tours as well. So private or public, there's options for many different lengths of tours, from 15 minutes flying over Reykjavik to 2 or 3 hours into the countryside with 2 or 3 actual touchdowns. We can include things like champagne and strawberries, maybe a picnic lunch, and just kind of get a bit of a luxury experience on a glacier. Or you'll see on the left-hand side, they're flying in front of Geldingadalur, which is the new volcanic area near the Blue Lagoon that's erupting right now. Or on the right-hand side, it's just landed on a lava field. So you can kind of spread a little picnic lunch, enjoy the surroundings, because these are remote areas and there's not likely to be anybody else around you. So keep in mind, this is a very pricey option. The scheduled tours are actually fairly reasonable, but private can be pricey. But it's a really great way to get a unique experience in Iceland that you probably, not everyone's going to have the same experience as you doing this. So now we're going to go into some unique experiences. So I mentioned at the very beginning the Buubble Hotel, and I did not spell it wrong, I promise. This is actually how the hotel spells it, with 2 U's and 2 B's. It's also known as the 5 Million Star Hotel. So on the left-hand side, I've included a picture for summer, and on the right-hand side, I've included a picture for winter. So it'll be very different experiences, because in the summer months, the sun doesn't set. So it'll be pretty much, depending on the time of summer, June and July especially, 24 hours of daylight. Into August, you're going to get a little bit of dusk, a little bit of darkness overnight, but not a lot. And then wintertime is going to be the opposite. So December, January, you're going to get 3 to 5 hours of daylight, and the rest will be total darkness. So this is a great place. They actually are famous. They're more known for winter bookings, but they operate in the summer if people would like, because people want to go there and see the northern lights. So this is a unique property in the sense that if you're self-driving or doing a private tour, you actually can't access these accommodations. The only way to access is from their own private touring vehicles that leave and come back to Reykjavik. So we can book that, it's no problem, but you cannot drive yourself there. It's just the way their business plan works, and just because they can't kind of give out the locations of the bubbles and addresses to people, because they don't want people kind of coming around and looking at everyone that's there. So there's 2 different options. There's one in the Golden Circle area and there's one in the South Coast region. Each tour, I'll say, Golden Circle and South Coast, they have 9 bubbles on site. The bubbles are close enough to each other that you all have access to one main kind of utility building, but they're far enough away and there's enough trees blocking that you actually can't see into bubble to bubble. So when you're in your bubble, nobody can see in if they're in their own bubble. So you'll see here, obviously you can see through it, there's no washroom facilities in the bubble. As I mentioned, there is a utility building that everyone does share. This has like a kitchen, it has a little lounge area to sit and relax, and it's got bathrooms and showers as well. So people are only spending 1 night here. So yes, it can be sometimes a little inconvenience or frustrating not to have your own washroom. But sometimes for the experience, it's more than worth it. And we've had some clients that have stayed here and this has been the highlight of their trip. So something we can really put together a great itinerary using this. Another one here, this is the Panorama Glass Lodge. So this is kind of similar to the bubble in the sense that it's clear, you can see the northern lights. This one is a bit different though, because it does have a full kitchen, it does have a full bathroom inside the building, and you'll also see in the top right that it does have a hot tub outside as well. So the catch with this property is there's currently only 2 of these lodges. So availability can be very challenging. There is a 2-night minimum for this property. However, as of April of 2022, they do expect to have 2 additional lodges. So they'll have 4 in total. And again, there'll be a 2-night minimum required. These ones do require your own vehicle or a private tour to get to, because there's no tour buses or scheduled buses that will go to this area. So it's quite remote. It's along the south coast and then kind of up into the highlands just a little bit. But again, there's nobody around. We've got some pristine landscape to look out onto and some great northern lights viewing. So this is a unique experience, and in the middle photo, you'll see, I don't usually use pictures of people, especially people I don't know, but this is actually a famous musician from Iceland. His name is Jökull. He's in a band called Kaleo, so this was on his social media pages, so I thought that it would be all right to include this for you guys to see. This is the beer spa. So this is located in the north of Iceland, and it's new within the last couple of years, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You are bathing in beer. It's quite good for your skin, and it makes your skin quite soft. So you'll see on the right, or so the left-hand side, there are some bathing areas outside as well. Inside the middle, we've got some in private rooms, so you can use like a romantic couple visit, or if you just want to be on your own, you can do that as well. And you do have a beer tap next to you as well. There's packages that include the unlimited beer as well. And then just on the right-hand side, it's just a picture overlooking the fjord that you're in. So it's quite a unique experience. It's not every day you can say you've bathed in beer and got to look over the water doing it. So this is a unique hotel. It's located just about halfway between Reykjavik and Keflavik, so pretty accessible. It's called the Viking Village. So it's not to everyone's taste, certainly. It's been fully designed to resemble Viking setups, Viking buildings. The restaurant is on the right, is fairly authentic. They serve kind of authentic Viking food. It's one of those restaurants in the evenings as well. They'll do a Viking kidnapping. They'll have Viking show, like fighting and a bit of acting. So it can be, it's not to, like I said, it's not to everybody's taste, but we have had especially families visit here. It's been a big hit for kids. So if Viking history, it is fairly authentic, and they do have some really great historians on site. So if you have anyone who's interested, anybody who's interested in Vikings, even if you just stop in for the day to see it, it's a great place to visit. So this is into the Glacier. So this is a couple of years old now. It's probably about 4 or 5 years old. It's north of Reykjavik on the Glacier Langjökull. So basically what they've done is they've dug a man-made tunnel through the glacier. So you drive up onto the glacier in the vehicle pictured on the right-hand side, and you come to a little corrugated metal tunnel in the ice, and you walk down the tunnel, and on the left-hand side, you emerge into a tunnel of ice. So you do get cleats or crampons for your shoes just to make it easier to walk around. And in the middle there, you'll actually see it's a wedding chapel. So you are able to arrange weddings, vow renewals, at this chapel. So it's a really cool, unique place to get married. The tour lasts about an hour, and I mean, it does look a bit daunting just because it is ice, but I did this tour a couple of years ago, and I had a lady on my tour who was in her 90s, and she had no issues using it. I think I spoke with that a couple of weeks ago, and she had no issue doing this tour. We just slowed things down a little bit for her, and she was able to enjoy it as well. So it's flat ground. Again, it's ice, so it's a bit slippery, but it's flat ground, walking around. You walk around in a full circle, so you're not going to get lost. So it's a really great kind of unique experience, because when can you say you've been inside a glacier? So this is the opposite. This is inside the volcano. So this is located near the Blue Lagoon. So you'll see kind of in the middle photo, they set up this rigging every year over the top of the volcano. They take it down in the wintertime because they're only operational between May and October. And then they have people hike out. So the hike's about 45 minutes each direction. It's on fairly level ground, there's no elevation gain, but it is kind of uneven in terms of its lava. So if it's been raining or it's wet, it can be slippery, but it's a fairly moderate hike. And on the left-hand side, you'll see you're lowered down in a basket of sorts. And they lower you down to the base of the volcano, which is on the right-hand side. You can see a few people kind of wandering around. They ask you not to take any rocks just because of the environment that you're in, but you can touch the rocks, you can handle them, you can ask questions about the volcano. There's scientists down there with you who know all about this area. So this is not an active volcano, so there's no risk of being in any danger in that sense, but you are asked to kind of have your wits about you because you are kind of on uneven ground as well. This does require not to be super fit, but you need to be relatively sure on your feet to do this. A way to make this a more luxury experience is you can actually charter a helicopter to fly to the site instead of hiking in. So that's an option as well. Again, if you've got people that don't want to hike in, the helicopter is the option. So golfing, I know golfing in itself doesn't sound unique necessarily unless you're a huge golfer, but something that's unique to Iceland is golfing under the midnight sun. So in the middle photo, you'll see this picture was taken at an 11:45 p.m. tea time in Akureyri in the north of Iceland. So you can golf under the midnight sun, you can golf kind of all night. They do close because they don't want their staff there all night, but typically the last tea time is either 11:45 or midnight, and you can golf a full 18 rounds. And then on the left-hand side, this is on the Westman Islands. This is golfing at a volcano. So this is a volcanic island, the Westman Islands. So I mean, Iceland is as well, but the Westman Islands are volcanic islands. So they build this as golfing in a volcano. So if you're an avid golfer and you want to add something unique to your list, this is a great way to do it. So we've actually come to the end. So this one's a little bit shorter than we have had, but I wanted to end with another Icelandic language lesson. So this is not necessarily language, all of it, because the left-hand side is more learning about the naming system in Iceland. So they use the patronymic naming system, which just means that a husband, a wife, a father, a daughter, and a son, they will not have the same last name. So you'll see here that Haraldur Freyr Hreinsson has married Erla Dog Sveinsdóttir, but she did not take his name because she is a daughter of Sveinsson. So, and then they have a son named Johan Otar Haraldsson, so he becomes Johan Haraldsson, the son of Harald. And then they have a daughter named Maria Rose Haraldsdóttir. She becomes the daughter of Harald. So it's interesting how that works. And then Johan marries Thelma Jonsdóttir. She is the daughter of Jan. And they have a daughter named Erla Hanna Johansdóttir because she is the daughter of Johan. So it's an interesting system, and it's still fairly consistent. Some people do prefer to take maybe a middle name as their last name, or if they're in a professional career and they don't want to spell their last name all the time, maybe they haven't kept it. But in general, you'll find this is fairly common. Another interesting fact about names in Iceland is that your name has to be on an approved naming list. So the government has a names list, and if you want to have your child name something that's not on the list, you have to submit and pay a fee to have it reviewed to see if they'll approve it. They typically don't review approve a lot. So a lot of them are successful, but some names do get through. In the middle, this is just an interesting picture that there's 14 different ways to say the word cat in Icelandic. It depends on what the cat is doing and the state of mind of the cat, and sometimes the main way is the top one, Kotirin, which is just a cat. It depends on the gender of the cat as well sometimes, so it's just interesting. It shows how complex the language can be. And then the right-hand side is just, I wanted to show, not all the town names look like this, but this is a map of just some of the more unique town and village names in Iceland. I can't see them from where I'm sitting because the map is a bit small, but the pronunciation, it can be challenging. The way I do it is, a lot of it is phonetic, and they speak in syllables, so you can really break it up really easily in syllables. But typically, if you're in an area and you're struggling with a name, an Icelander is just going to help you out and say, okay, I can help you. You don't have to say it. Though they do get really happy if people do try to say things. They get really thrilled that someone has made the effort. So that's kind of all I had today. So I want to say Tack Fjörukráin and Bless again. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are new again joining us, thank you so much. My contact details are here on the bottom. My direct phone number, our office phone number with my extension, and my email address. Yeah, so I'm going to unshare my screen. Just bear with me for one moment. All right, I think I'm back. So I'm just gonna see if there's any questions. I haven't seen any pop up. Again, this one's quite short. I appreciate you joining me. Iceland is it's a very, very expensive country if you've looked into it. I do acknowledge that. A moderate hotel in the off season could cost around $200 or $300 or $400 a night for a moderate, something that here you maybe pay $80 for. So it is sometimes hard to fathom spending that money. But you have to also consider that everything is flown into Iceland, everything is imported, all their meats, all their food, all their building goods, everything is imported. So that is a factor in the pricing of things. And also that everything is fairly heavily taxed. So typically the VAT, depending on the item, is between 20% and 25%. So it's a little bit expensive. I'm not seeing any questions show up, so I hope I answered any questions you had. Otherwise, please feel free to email me or give me a call, and I'm happy to put some information together for you. So this is the third of 4 in our series. Next week is going to be the final one for now. It is going to be on multi-day adventures, kind of off the beaten path adventures as well. So a little bit different again as well, but give you some good ideas. If you've been to Iceland before, this is a great one to watch because it's got some stuff that maybe you missed your first time, or if you're into hiking or if you're into wildlife, there's some good information there for you as well. So I'm going to end things here. Again, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you all next week. Take care, everybody.